Hello, fellow Bobcats. My name is Peter Moore, and this past semester I have been interning with an agency called Austin Recovery in Austin, Texas, and they are an addiction recovery center. Now, they are extremely important in the Austin community. They partner with other agencies such as the Red Cross, Salvation Army, and they actually have designated slots for people who are living at the Salvation Army across the street. So it's really well positioned within the city to where it's accessible for a lot of drug and alcohol addicts who really need the help. Now, as far as addiction goes, addiction really has no biases. It's from my experience within Austin Recovery, there were people from all walks of life. Some who were 18, 19 years old, just unfortunately starting down the path of addiction and noticing or having others notice that they were addicted for the first time in their lives, and others who are a little bit more tenured in life in their 60s, who have relapsed chronically throughout their lives. It was a great experience for me as a clinician, but also very eye opening just as a human being to see how prevalent addiction really is in our societies. Um, it's it's something that I really learned throughout the semester that addiction is for life. It's it's commonly compared to a disease rather than just being addicted to something that you may or may not have control over. It's really an allergy or a disease that when these individuals put these substances into their bodies, they no longer most of the time have control over what happens next, which means that for some people who suffer from alcoholism, two drinks a night might happen once or twice, but it's those other times where they don't stop at two drinks and a week later they're back to the place that they swore they would never be to again, where they start to get in trouble and where Austin Recovery is really a paramount figure and an agency in the Austin area to help them through that. Now, Austin Recovery is an intensive outpatient facility where I was, but they also have a sister facility in Buda, just southwest, or yes, southwest of Austin, which is a residential center that I actually got to tour for about 2.5 weeks, which is a very, very different and very interesting um, facility as well, with people just starting out in their sobriety and their recovery, and actually getting to live there and work on those boundaries and relationships and all the other skills that we need to function in society. So learning all of this and seeing what I might be able to conceptualize to be able to help this agency progress even farther than they already have, for the project plan would be an exit interview or survey that is given exclusively to those members or clients who graduate from the intensive outpatient clinic. This would ensure that the client had participated in generally 2 months of programming, so they would be farther along in their recovery. It means that they didn't relapse in the time that they were with Austin Recovery, and it's a very selective pool when you only have the graduates take the survey. Now, this was my idea because there is currently some sampling of surveys going around just kind of intermittently, maybe once a month throughout the tenure of the client's programming. But this unfortunately results in a lot of different answers. So there's people who don't take it seriously, who just write down nonsense, who don't really want to be there, who might be there for legal issues or to prove something to family, whereas the majority of the clients who graduate are there for themselves and their recovery and worrying about themselves because they know that the individual comes before everything else. If I'm a drug addict or addicted to alcohol, then I cannot worry about what my family is doing or what my friends are doing before I have myself under control. And this is a very kind of harsh reality, um, because we, or at least I as an individual, like to think about others. But with this project plan, uh, we're going to implement a survey that's 15 different questions, given exclusively to the clients who are graduating upon their discharge. So this will ensure that they have graduated, they have completed 28 sessions, they know everything that Austin Recovery has been doing, they've been present for everything. And in return, their therapist will meet with them during their discharge as normal and present them with this survey, which will be 15 questions that are actually created by the clinical staff members. So this will be a great opportunity for in staff meetings to be able to come up. I had the idea that by the end of this year, every therapist should be able to come up with about 10 questions. It shouldn't take um, a huge investment of their time. And with this, the staff will all vote on the top 15 of, let's say, 100 questions if there's 10 questions from 10 different staff members. This will allow for a variety of questions, as a lot of them will probably put very very similar things. It'll help them word the questions how they want to, but also, every 6 months after this is implemented, the surveys are going to be, of course, collected throughout those 6 months. But at the end of the 6 months, the agency will either have an intern, or some staff member that volunteers, or however they want to divvy it up. They'll be able to look at all the responses, and then once again vote on what questions are working, what people are responding to, and how we can change this so that we can have the best questions possible. Because if we don't have the best questions, then we're really not getting the information that we want. And the reason that we want this information is so that we can benefit everyone else who comes to Austin Recovery until the Austin Recovery is no longer an agency, which hopefully is never. So really the only things that can go wrong with this is that it does depend a lot on the client interaction. It depends on the clients responding positively to these questions and really giving honest feedback, because without honest feedback nothing is going to change, and this will be just another piece of paper that is handed out and received, and that's not what we want. What we want is something impactful that these graduates will be able to pass on to future cohorts of clients that come in for this programming, so that if there was something that was beneficial that they really enjoyed, that the majority really enjoyed, then we can keep doing that. If there's something that everyone absolutely hated that did not benefit them at all, we don't want to be doing that. We want to be doing everything that is beneficial for the clients. This, in terms of pros, should make everything more efficient. It should help the programming run a lot more smooth. It'll have an impact on the day-to-day schedule because we'll know exactly what we want to teach, rather than right now there's a curriculum for addiction recovery programs that Austin Recovery utilizes. It is evidence-based, and it's put out by TCU, but I think there's roughly 40 different sections, and it's done once or twice a week. So in the 28 sessions that clients have there, they're not getting everything. So if we can condense this down, if we can really have what the clients and the graduates have responded that this is working, then that's what we need to be doing. We're gonna know if this is working pretty positively, because the 6 months down the road we're gonna have the same staff who is already reaching out to clients, just add in a couple questions when they're following up with graduates, and those questions would be something along the lines of, how how are you doing? Have you relapsed? Do you need any additional services? Is there anything we can do for you? And questions like these are going to help us have the ability to know who's relapsing from the graduates specifically, rather than a client who has come to 3 sessions and then was discharged. It's just it's a different place on the spectrum. So being able to do that and reach out only to the graduates who have taken the survey, and knowing the statistics from people who took the survey on, from that time period on, this will all help um, encompass the role of Austin Recovery in the community as doing the thing that's most beneficial for the client. Now, this is really unique to social work, because in a sense, if this project works, there will be less clients because there will be less repeats, which means less money coming in, um, which is really a unique dynamic, because in the addiction recovery, um, I guess, field, you don't want your clients to come back, because that means they're doing well. It means they haven't relapsed. So it's something that I found a little amusing from a business standpoint, but with the amount, excuse me, sorry, with the amount of clients that need help in Austin, if word spreads around that Austin Recovery is doing it right and they have fewer relapses than any other agency, that will in turn promote awareness throughout the community that this is where we want to go. So all in all, just as a quick recap, the project plan is to implement a survey that's given exclusively to graduates, with a set of questions compiled from the clinical staff, followed up with these graduates 6 months out, and then every 6 months after that, at the most. And having this be a living document that we can change, that we can implement new questions in, and have it be in the everlasting cycle of perfection. So congratulations everyone on finishing out the semester. Thanks for listening, and have an absolutely wonderful rest of our time at Texas State.